It's playoff time in Texas, and once again, Pilot Point's part of it. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show as the Bearcats take on West tonight in the first round of what we hope will be multiple rounds for the Bearcats. But I will say this will be a tough one. And Coach will talk about it on his segment of the show, but the West Trojans are a really solid team. I said this to him off the air. I might have even said it on the air. I can't remember. I think Mahia's team last year is not as good as this year's West team outside of that Mahia had that one stud wide receiver. But West is a really balanced team. Coach was talking about how they were charting it out, and basically they kind of run throw 51-49. And that's a balanced team, and so that's going to be tough on this Pilot Point defense. I do think the one positive is West at times has struggled to play defense against good offenses, and so I think this is going to be a high scoring game, and it's going to be a fun one. This show, of course, is made part to you because of iRick Real Estate. Give Chance Kirby a call if you're looking to buy in the Lake Ray Roberts area. And why would you call him outside of him just sponsoring the show? Because he has over a quarter of a century of experience in the area, and you want someone with that experience who knows the lay of the land, who knows value in the area to help you. So give him a call, 940-300-6900. You can call or text him, and we thank him for being a sponsor. And his brother is actually a sponsor of our Region 3 show, All Tex Welding Supply. Go check that show out. It's up on our podcast page, S2SGrantandTerry.com. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, it's the head coach of the Pilot Point Bearcats, Coach Chad Worrell, right here on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Playoff Football Show. Again, as I was saying, each and every week we talk high school football, 3A, 4A, and 2A on sideline to sideline. Our 18th year, and with it being playoff time, that means playoff tree. What is playoff tree? You'll just have to go look and see. Go to youtube.com/@L4 Media Company. If you need to, you can also listen to the audio only of the show. It's on our podcast page, S2SGrantandTerry.com, and across all podcast platforms. 'Tis the season to be merry because it's Texas high school football. Have fun listening and watching our show sideline to sideline. Terry Bennett back here on the Pilot Point Playoff Football Show, now joined by the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Chad Worrell. And, Coach, before we talk playoffs, first off, just congratulations on an 8-2 year, 5-1 in district. I have to ask, do you feel the program is where you thought it would be right now, ahead of it? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I didn't really have expectations 2 years down the road. Just kind of came in and took it, one day or one game at a time. And I know it's old coaching cliche, but I'm pleased where we're at. I mean, we've had some games we'd like to have do-overs in, but to be the second seed in this district, which I think is pretty tough, and going into playoffs, at 8-2, I'm really, really proud of our coaching staff and our kids. They've done everything that we've asked them to do, and I'm just really tickled with them.
And I know it's been cliche, and we've said this all year long, with the resiliency of this team, a team that just 2 years ago was 0-9. You had 2 losses, but after those 2 losses, you've bounced back with some commanding wins in this season.
Yeah, we have. We responded well, and like I said, the teams we've had problems with, we kind of felt like some of that was forced on by ourselves, and we've corrected those, coming out of that. And I thought we played really well last week on both sides of the ball. All 3 phases, really. We had some penalty issues there, but we were able to overcome them, and I thought we bottled them up. A really good offense bottled up for most of the night. So, I'm proud of the way they've responded after some negative stuff happened, and that's one thing that's different from last year's. We couldn't overcome that. The kids just being a year older and a seasoned ball club and having that experience, they've done a really good job of overcoming negative things this year.
All right, well, let's get into it. Your first playoff game, we hope of multiple. It's going to be a tough one, though, as you're taking on a West team that, as you were telling me, is very talented and very balanced. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, they're super talented. First thing that jumps off at you when you turn on the film is just the size of them, which is completely opposite of us. We're not very big, and we haven't been the bigger team all year long. But, man, they've got some giants over there. They're 2 offensive tackles for 6'5" to 6'7", close to 300 pounds, and their guards are 250 and, 6'2", 250, and those guys play defense, and their skill kids are all, they all look like they're 5'11", 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. So they've got really size, but they're well coached and they play hard. That's been West's MO forever. They got tough kids. They're going to get after you. They definitely do that. They've got a lot of talent to go with it. So, yeah, it's going to be a huge challenge for us.
I seeing you in person against Palmer and then just watching a bunch of game on film, and you're right, y'all always seem to be the smaller team. But I almost feel like, especially your offensive line and defensive line, wear that as a badge of honor that we're smaller, but we're going to beat you.
Yeah, we talked about that on Monday. I told them I wouldn't trade them for anything. And I like that small tenaciousness of being smaller and playing with fast motor. And our kids really, have bought into that, and they're not scared of anybody. They're going to get out there and play hard. We know that. Sometimes it's intimidating to look at across the line and see those big guys, but man, I'll take our guys every day of the week.
And one thing, West is one of those teams I always call them. They're a region threat. They haven't quite broke through past the region, but year in and year out, Coach David Woodard really has them always primed, whether they're running the ball 100% or like this year being very balanced.
He does a great job. I think he's been there since about 2005 or something. He told me when I was at Salina in 06 or 07, we played him. He was there as an assistant coach and moved up from there to defense coordinator, from there to head coach. So he's been there, and they've got their program in place, and you can definitely tell when you watch them on film. I mean, they're well coached. They know what they're doing scheme wise. They play hard. They execute. All the good things that are good signs of good coaching. They have.
All right, so for Pilot Point, not only to win this game, but hopefully go a few rounds, what do y'all need to do better that maybe y'all haven't done during the year?
We just have to continue to just get better up front and taking care of the turnovers on both sides of the ball and, not getting behind the chains. That's a big deal for our offense, not getting pre-snap penalties. You're going to get some holds from here time to time, and you're going to get things like that. But the illegal procedure penalties or, illegal motion penalties, getting behind the chains on first and second down is a lot to overcome for an offense like ours. And we got to continue to get better at that. And then, taking care of the football. And we've done a pretty good job of that all year long. Our turnover margins, we're a pretty big plus on that category for the year. And so we got to continue to do those things to have a chance in these games against good teams.
Now, with it being a shortened week, do y'all change up y'all's practices much?
No, we went a little bit longer Monday and Tuesday because we kind of had to combine 3 into 2 there, but not a whole lot. It looks pretty much the same. And today we'll be back on a regular day before the game workout will be normal, and have our FCA meeting after practice and all that. We do team dinners for playoffs, so the kids are looking forward to that. Getting ribeye steaks tonight, so we'll do our playoff team meal tonight, and we're kind of on regular schedule right now.
Once again, we want to thank Coach Wolf for joining us, as he does each and every week here on the IRIC Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show. And as we talked about it, as he talked about it, and as I said in the open, this is going to be a very tough by-district game. I think this is legitimately maybe the best 3A Division I by-district game in the state, maybe even of all of 3A. And I think we even said that on Sideline to Sideline. Again, check out Sideline to Sideline. And this is a good thing. This is a tough region. And so you're going to have these type of games, and the one positive is, man, if you advance through this region, you're going to be battle tested. I mean, you've got so many great teams in Region 2 this year. Whitney, Atlanta, Winsboro, by the way, that's another great by-district showdown. Winsboro at one time was the number 1 team in the state until Commerce beat them. Atlanta has beat everybody in front of them except for Gladewater in district, and that's why they're the second place or the third place team by tiebreakers and such. You've got Malakoff, who made it to state last year. They're still loaded. Commerce, who has surprised everybody this year, upsetting back-to-back weeks Winsboro and Malakoff, but then turn around last week and losing to Mount Vernon in a close one. And then you've got Mount Vernon and Gladewater, and those two teams have been going back and forth over the last 5 years in the playoffs. It seems like every time they meet, it's in the playoffs. So this is going to be one heck of a region. Hopefully Pilot Point gets through it week 1 and we go from there. I do want to make a note. If Pilot Point gets eliminated this week, we will have a end of season coaches show, but it will be after The state championship week and after Christmas. I usually put those up after Christmas and in between New Year's just to kind of have a little look back at football for 2025. But let's hope we're not having to worry about that. Anyway, if you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, email the show. Terry at S2Ssport.com. Once again, thank you, Chance and iRick Real Estate, for being a sponsor. Be safe in your travels for the playoff game, and hopefully we're meeting back here next week on the Pilot Point Playoff Football Show, brought to you by iRick Real Estate.